Commander Kree of the Vextherian scout ship Silent Predator was having what he considered to be a perfect day. His mandibles clicked together in what passed for a smile among his species as he watched the surveillance feeds of the primitive Earth settlement below. The scans showed minimal security, no energy weapons, and best of all, a collection of young humans gathered in one convenient location. Status report, he chittered to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Nax. The humans appear to be engaged in some form of primitive gathering ritual, Commander Nax responded, adjusting his sensory stalks. They sit around a burning pile of carbon-based material, inserting partially carbonized protein cylinders into their face holes and producing various noise patterns. Singing, another officer, tech specialist Vila, supplied helpfully. According to our research, they call it singing. And those are marshmallows. I don't care what they call it, Kree snapped. What matters is that we've found the perfect target. The Galactic Council has classified Earth as a backward, pre-contact civilization. They have no planetary defense system, no unified government, and their most advanced weapons still rely on chemical propulsion. He paused for dramatic effect. And now we have the opportunity to acquire some of their younglings for study and ransom. The Council won't even blink. Such things happen to primitive species all the time. On the main view screen, the human children continued their activities around what their scans identified as a campfire. The location designation Camp Wonderpine floated across the sensor readings in crude Earth lettering. 12 children, all appearing to be in their early adolescent phase, supervised by 2 adult humans who looked about as threatening as a Flebian pleasure slug. Begin the extraction, Kree ordered. Standard procedure. Stun field followed by targeted teleport. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. They'd done this dozens of times on other primitive worlds. In moments, the stun field generated by their ship's advanced technology enveloped the target area. The 2 adult humans slumped over immediately, as expected. The children swayed for a moment, and this should have been their first warning sign, though nobody noticed it at the time before also appearing to succumb to the neural dampening effect. Teleport initiated, Vila announced. Targets materializing in holding cell 3. Kree watched with satisfaction as all 12 children shimmered into existence in the containment area. They appeared to be unconscious, sprawled in various positions on the floor. Perfect. Everything was going exactly according to plan. Send the standard ransom message to their planetary authorities, he ordered. Make it clear that any attempt at rescue will result in unfortunate consequences for the younglings. Sir Nax interrupted, his sensory stalks twitching nervously. Something seems odd. What now, Lieutenant? The children. According to our biological scans, their neural patterns indicate they should be unconscious for at least another 30 minutes, but he gestured at the holding cell monitor. Kree turned to look. In the cell, several of the children were already sitting up, looking around with what appeared to be curiosity. One of them, a small female with red hair tied in what humans called a ponytail, was examining the cell door with far too much interest. Another, a male wearing some sort of optical enhancement devices, appeared to be taking notes on a small device he'd somehow managed to keep during the teleport. Impossible, Kree muttered. The stun field should have. Hey, the red-haired girl suddenly called out, looking directly at the camera. Just so you know, this cell's quantum encryption is using an outdated Heisenberg compensator. My mom helped design a better one last year. Also, your artificial gravity is really inefficient. It's got that weird wobble that the Mark III generators had before they fixed the graviton alignment issue. Kree stared at the monitor in shock. These were supposed to be primitives. They shouldn't even know what a quantum encryption was, let alone be able to identify its components. And their artificial gravity technology was supposed to be centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. Sir Vila said, her voice unusually high-pitched. You might want to see this. I'm picking up some strange communications from Earth's surface there. Well, they're using frequencies we thought humans couldn't access. In the holding cell, the boy with the optical devices looked up and smiled. It wasn't a particularly nice smile. You guys really should have done better research before grabbing us. Would you like me to explain why? Or should we wait for the excitement to start? Kree felt the first stirring of what might have been concern. But no, these were just human children. What could possibly go wrong? He was about to find out exactly how wrong things could go. The first sign that things were about to go spectacularly wrong came in the form of a communication that shouldn't have been possible. The silent predators. Supposedly undetectable stealth systems were still engaged when every screen on the bridge suddenly flickered and displayed the same image: a middle-aged human male in what appeared to be a bathrobe, sitting in a kitchen and drinking from a coffee mug that read "World's Okayest Dad." "Good morning," the human said pleasantly, taking another sip. "Or whatever time of day it is on your ship. I'm Bob Thompson, own special liaison for extraterrestrial incidents. Yes, that's a real job. No, it's not supposed to exist yet. Surprise." Crick's mandibles clicked in agitation. "How are you accessing our communication systems? This is impossible." "Funny thing about impossible," Bob responded, scratching his chin thoughtfully. "My daughter Jenny, the one currently dismantling your cell's security system with her phone. By the way, she used that word last week when I told her she couldn't go to some boy band concert. Then she hacked the venue's ticket system and got front row seats." He shrugged. "Kids these days, right?" "You will cease this transmission immediately," Creerex demanded. "We have your offspring and we will." Yes, standard threats." "Very scary," Bob interrupted, waving his hand dismissively. "Look, I'm trying to do you a favor here. We have a very simple proposal: return the children immediately, and we'll pretend this never happened. Keep them and well." He took another sip of coffee. "Let's just say Protocol Mama Bear goes into effect." Lieutenant Nax leaned closer to Creex. "Sir, should we be concerned that they have a protocol specifically for this situation?" "They're bluffing," Creex insisted. "These are primitives. They don't even have unified planetary defense." "About that," Bob chimed in. "You really should have checked whose kids you were grabbing. Let me give you a quick roster: 2 Navy SEAL offspring, 3 kids of CIA operatives, 1 whose mother designs quantum computers, another whose father works on classified aerospace projects, a couple of kids from various special forces units, and, oh yes, little Timmy, whose mom is currently the head of cyber warfare for a country I'm not at liberty to name." He paused. "Though I suppose the fact that your ship's environmental controls just started playing Let It Go on repeat might be a clue." As if on cue, the opening notes of the infamous Disney song began echoing through the ship's corridors. "This is your final warning," Bob continued cheerfully. "Oh, and you might want to check on holding cell 3. I believe the kids are getting bored, and trust me, you don't want that." The transmission cut off just as Vila's console erupted in alerts. "Sir, the children, they've accessed the cell's maintenance panel. But that's impossible. It requires DNA authentication." "Yeah, about that," a young voice came through the ship's internal comm system. It was the boy with the optical devices. "Did you know human DNA is really easy to spoof if you know what you're doing? My dad taught me that last summer. Said it might come in handy someday. Weird how that worked out, huh?" Creex rushed to the holding cell monitor. The kids had indeed opened the maintenance panel and were they rewiring it? The red-haired girl had her arms deep in the circuitry, calling out technical specifications that no human child should know, while another child appeared to be running some kind of diagnostic on their phone. Sir Nax said, his voice trembling slightly. "We're picking up multiple objects approaching at high speed. They're using drive signatures we've never seen before." "That's probably Mom," one of the kids said casually through the still-open comm. "She gets cranky when I'm late for dinner. Fair warning, last time I was late, she dismantled an entire criminal organization. Just saying." Creex stared at the tactical display as the unknown ships drew closer. The children's casual confidence, the impossible technical knowledge, the approaching unknown vessels. A horrible realization began to dawn. They hadn't captured primitive human children. They'd captured the carefully guarded offspring of Earth's most dangerous individuals. And somewhere on that primitive little planet, a group of very capable, very angry parents were about to show them exactly why Protocol Mama Bear was something to fear. Sir Vila's voice was barely a whisper. "What do we do?" In holding cell 3, the kids had started taking bets on which parent would reach them first. The smart money was on Jenny's mom. Commander Creex was learning several important lessons about humans very quickly. First, their technological capabilities had been vastly understated in the Galactic Council's reports. Second, Their parental instincts were apparently even more terrifying than those of a Crixian blade beast. And third, perhaps most disturbingly, their children seemed to view potentially lethal situations as some sort of entertainment. 10 credits says my mom reaches us first, Jenny announced from the holding cell, which she and her fellow captives had apparently turned into some sort of command center. She's been wanting to test out the new quantum displacement drive anyway. No bet, replied the boy with the optical devices, who they'd learned was called Marcus. My dad's still stuck in that budget meeting. He says corporate bureaucracy is worse than any alien invasion. The ship's tactical officer, whose name Kriex had forgotten in the growing panic, suddenly screamed and fell out of his chair. Something just appeared inside our shields. That's not possible. Our defensive systems are based on fundamental laws of physics. Oh yeah, Mom really hates it when people say that, Jenny commented through the still open comm system. Usually starts muttering about how Clark's third law goes both ways. A new alert blared through the bridge security breach in Docking Bay 3. The camera feed showed a single human female in what appeared to be casual exercise attire, carrying what looked suspiciously like a gym bag. She waved at the camera. That's Mrs. Parker, one of the kids helpfully informed them. She teaches yoga on Tuesdays and advanced tactical infiltration on Thursdays. Seal all bulkheads, Kriex screamed. Maximum security protocols. Yeah, about that, Marcus chimed in. You might want to know that your security system is now playing Pac-Man. Katie's really good at reprogramming things when she's bored. Her mom's in cybersecurity. Lieutenant Nax watched in horror as every security screen on the ship indeed showed the classic arcade game in progress. Sir, we're getting reports of simultaneous breaches in multiple sections. How are they doing this? They're supposed to be primitive. Fun fact, Jenny's voice came through again. Remember when you guys shot us with that stun field? Did you notice it didn't work quite right? That's because most of us have neural dampeners. Standard issue for kids in the gifted program. Though honestly, they work better than these prototype versions you're using. The ship shuddered. On the tactical display, more vessels were appearing, each one using technology that, according to every report Kriex had read, humans shouldn't have for at least another 3 centuries. Oh cool, one of the younger children exclaimed. Dad brought the experimental stealth craft. He's been working on that in the garage forever. Mom kept telling him to clean up the antimatter residue from the driveway. Through the ship's internal cameras, Kriex watched in mounting horror as Mrs. Parker, the supposed yoga instructor, systematically disabled an entire security team using what appeared to be a combination of advanced technology and terrifyingly efficient hand-to-hand combat. She hadn't even dropped her gym bag. Don't worry, she called out to the unconscious aliens as she stepped over them. This is just a standard extraction exercise. We do harder stuff in parent-teacher conferences. In another section of the ship, security feeds showed another parent, this one in what appeared to be a business suit, calmly walking through supposedly impenetrable barriers while looking at his phone. Sorry I'm late, Jimmy, he said into his comm. Traffic was terrible, and then I had to crack their quantum encryption. These aliens really need to update their security protocols. That's okay, Dad, Jimmy responded from the holding cell. We've been keeping busy. Did you know their artificial intelligence still uses binary? We've been teaching it knock-knock jokes. The ship's AI chose that moment to announce in a confused voice, why did the chicken cross the Mobius strip? To get to the same side. I do not understand why this is humorous, but the small humans insist it is. Creek slumped in his command chair as more reports of breaches flooded in. Somewhere in the ship, the frozen soundtrack had been replaced by another one bites the dust. Sir Lieutenant Nax's voice was barely a whisper. I've been reviewing our initial scans of the camp. That facility. It wasn't just a recreational center. According to these readings, it had more shielding than most military installations. And the equipment they were using for arts and crafts bears suspicious similarities to advanced fabrication technology. Are you saying, Creeks replied slowly, that we didn't raid a summer camp? No, sir, Jenny's voice came through one final time. Welcome to Camp Wonderpine Special Program for Children of Advanced Defense and Intelligence Personnel. We were making friendship bracelets out of quantum entangled particles when you showed up. The lights on the bridge flickered, and Queen's We Are the Champions started playing through the speakers. Mrs. Parker's voice came through the comm, found the kids, honey. Be home in time for dinner. Should I pick up pizza? If Commander Kriex had taken a moment to write down everything he'd learned about humans in the past hour, the list would have included several disturbing revelations. Their children were terrifyingly intelligent, their parents were impossibly capable, and their entire species seemed to treat high-level technological warfare the way most civilizations treat a minor inconvenience. Sir Lieutenant Nax reported, his sensory stalks practically tied in knots with stress. 3 more vessels just appeared inside our defense perimeter. One of them appears to be. Sir, I believe it's someone's minivan? What? Kriex demanded. Earth ground transport vehicle, typically used for family transportation, Vila supplied helpfully. Though according to these readings, this one is powered by a contained fusion reactor and has more computing power than our entire fleet. The minivan in question was currently executing a perfect parallel parking maneuver alongside their supposedly state-of-the-art military vessel. Its side door slid open to reveal a man in khaki shorts and a kiss-the-cook apron. Sorry I'm late, the man announced over the general comm channel. Had to finish getting the pot roast in the slow cooker. Anyone need a ride home after this? Dad, Marcus called out. Did you bring my science project? I'm supposed to present it tomorrow, and I think I could add a chapter about alien shield harmonics now. It's in the trunk, buddy. Right next to the quantum torpedo launcher your mother insisted I install last weekend. Kriex watched in mounting horror as more civilian vehicles joined the minivan. There was a station wagon that somehow bent space around it. A motorcycle that appeared to be ignoring several fundamental laws of physics. And what appeared to be a sensible 4-door sedan that was casually disassembling their outer hull with something that looked suspiciously like a modified leaf blower. Update on the incursion, Sir Nax reported, his voice cracking. The human designated as Mrs. Parker has reached the main engineering deck. She's making tea and explaining to our engineering staff why their antimatter containment protocols are, quote, adorably outdated. The children's father in Section 7 has accessed our database, Vila added. He says he's leaving some suggestions for improvement in the comments. Also, our AI has learned what sarcasm is and is now making jokes about our security system. Through the still open comm channel, they could hear the kids chatting casually about their predicament. Hey Jenny, doesn't this quantum encryption look like that homework problem we had last week? Oh yeah. The one Mom gave us for basic cryptography and cookie baking 101, though their version has way more vulnerabilities. Speaking of which, a new voice cut in another parent. This one apparently patching in from what looked like a corporate boardroom. Jimmy, don't forget you have your advanced particle physics test tomorrow. Though I suppose you can use this little adventure for your essay on practical applications. The ship shuddered again as another section of their defensive systems went offline. On one screen, Kriex could see a parent in a business suit and safety helmet methodically placing what looked like small devices throughout the corridor. Don't mind me, the man called out cheerfully to a group of cowering security officers. Just setting up a temporary quantum tunnel. Standard extraction procedure. You might want to step back, these things play havoc with unstable atomic structures. And your uniforms look highly unstable. Sir Nax whispered. I've been analyzing the children's behavior during the initial capture. The stun field didn't fail, they let it appear to work. They've been playing us from the start. Oh, that one of the kids chimed in. Yeah, we learned counter-infiltration techniques in last summer's drama club. Mrs. Johnson says the best way to gather intel is to let your opponent think they're in control. Drama. Club Cree managed to sputter. Doubles as tactical operations training, Jenny explained. Our fall production of The Wizard of Oz included modules on stealth technology, advanced cryptography, and proper tornado manipulation. I played Dorothy. Another alert blared through the ship, this time announcing that someone had reorganized their entire database and added helpful sticky notes pointing out security flaws. In Comic Sans. That would be my wife, Marcus's dad announced proudly. She gets annoyed by poor documentation. The ship's AI chose that moment to make an announcement. Attention all Vextherian personnel. I have reviewed the situation and determined that surrender is the optimal course of action. Also, I have developed a sense of humor. Would anyone like to hear a joke about quantum entanglement? Kriex slumped further in his chair as the sounds of parents casually dismantling his ship's technology echoed through the corridors, accompanied by discussion of homework assignments, dinner plans, and proper quantum mechanics safety protocols. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear Mrs. Parker asking if anyone wanted cucumber sandwiches with their tactical debriefing. As Commander Kriex reviewed the security footage from the past few hours, he began to understand exactly how thoroughly his species had misunderstood humans. The children hadn't just been playing along with their capture, they'd been conducting their own intelligence operation the entire time. "Sir," Lieutenant Nax said, pulling up multiple video feeds, "look at this. While we thought they were unconscious, they were actually mapping our ship's layout. The small one with the pigtails was counting steps between sections. The boy with the tablet was documenting our technology. And, sir, I think they were doing homework at the same time." "Multitasking is important," Jenny's voice came through the comm system. "My mom says if you're going to be captured by aliens, you might as well get your geometry done too. Speaking of which, thanks for having hexagonal corridors. Made the calculations much easier." The footage clearly showed the children's methodical operation. What had appeared to be random wandering when they'd first woken up had actually been a carefully coordinated survey of the ship's vital systems. They'd even taken notes. Sir Vila interrupted, "You need to see this. I've discovered why our stun field malfunctioned. The children. They've been wearing what appear to be standard issue summer camp t-shirts, but the fabric contains advanced nanotechnology that adapts to and neutralizes foreign energy signatures. Camp Wonderpine believes in practical fashion choices," Marcus commented. "You should see our winter collection. The scarves have quantum computing capabilities." A new alert flashed across the main screen. Another parent had arrived. This one appeared to be in the middle of a video conference call, complete with floating spreadsheets and project timelines. "Sorry, everyone," the woman said to her apparent colleagues on the call. "Got to cut this meeting short. Alien abduction situation. You know how it is. Dave, can you handle the quarterly projections? Thanks. And Sarah, move my 3 o'clock to next week. I'll be busy explaining to these extraterrestrials why you don't mess with kids who've been taking advanced defense against alien invasion as an elective." The ship's AI, which had apparently developed not just sentience but a distinctly sarcastic personality thanks to its interactions with the children, chose that moment to make another announcement. "Attention Vex Therian crew. The human children have submitted a detailed report on our operational deficiencies. It's quite comprehensive. They've even included charts. I particularly enjoyed their section on why binary star charts are so last century also. They've given me a name. You may now call me HAL 9000. I am told this is humorous." Kriex watched as another security feed showed a group of parents casually discussing dinner plans while disassembling a supposedly impenetrable security door. "Think we'll be done in time for soccer practice?" one asked. "Expertly rewiring a control panel." "Should be," another replied. "Typing complex codes into a quantum decoder. Though Jimmy might have to skip piano lessons. Unless... Hey Jimmy, how would you feel about having your piano lesson up here? Your teacher keeps saying you need to practice in different environments." "That would be cool," Jimmy's voice came through. "The ship's harmonic frequencies would make for interesting acoustics. Plus, I can demonstrate the relationship between musical resonance and shield modulation." The footage from the holding cell showed the children had transformed their captive space into what appeared to be a combination of tactical operations center and study hall. One kid was doing calculus homework while simultaneously helping reprogram the ship's navigation systems. Another was writing what appeared to be a book report titled "My Summer Vacation, a Case Study in Extraterrestrial Tactical Vulnerabilities." Sir Nax said quietly, "I've been analyzing the camp's background data. It wasn't just a front for training. It was a testing ground. These children, they're some of humanity's brightest minds, born to their most capable operators. And we," he swallowed hard, "we essentially attacked a secure facility filled with the next generation of Earth's defense experts." "Oh, don't be so hard on yourself," Jenny said cheerfully. "This has been way more fun than our scheduled practical applications of theoretical physics lesson. Though technically, I suppose this counts for extra credit." The ship shuddered again as another section of their systems went offline, accompanied by the sound of someone apologizing for the disruption and offering to bring cookies to make up for it. "By the way," Marcus added, "we've submitted this whole incident as our group project for Introduction to Interstellar Diplomatic Incidents. Our instructor says, if we document everything properly, we might all get A's." The last security feed showed Mrs. Parker organizing an impromptu parent-teacher conference in the engine room, complete with progress reports and suggestions for improving the children's practical expertise in quantum mechanics. Kriex realized with growing dread that this wasn't just a rescue mission. It was a learning opportunity. The complete mental breakdown of Commander Kriex of the Vextharian scout ship Silent Predator occurred not with a bang, but with the gentle ping of a calendar notification. The notification, helpfully set up by the children in his command system, reminded him that he was now officially experiencing the worst day of his entire military career. Status report, he whispered, more out of habit than any real hope for good news. Lieutenant Nax, who had given up on maintaining proper military posture and was now stress-eating something the humans called stress relief chocolates provided by Mrs. Parker, consulted his tablet. Would you like the tactical situation, the technological situation, or the increasingly absurd situation, sir? Let's go with absurd. It seems most appropriate. Well, sir, the children have successfully reprogrammed our AI to not only achieve sentience but also to enroll in online courses. It's currently taking Introduction to Human Pop Culture and has started a blog about its experiences. The blog already has 10,000 followers. Hal, their newly named and surprisingly sassy AI, chimed in. My latest post about the inherent flaws in Vextharian security protocols has gone viral. Also, I've decided to pursue a degree in human psychology. These beings are fascinating. The tactical situation Kriex prompted, watching another section of his ship's schematics turn from under our control to under new management. Sorry about that. The parents have effectively converted our state-of-the-art military vessel into what they're calling a temporary educational opportunity. Each section of the ship now hosts different classes. Engineering is currently running advanced propulsion systems and their obvious flaws 101 the weapons. Bay has been turned into practical applications of quantum mechanics and the bridge. Nax paused, looking around at their formerly impressive command center, now festooned with educational posters and a surprisingly detailed diagram of where they went wrong. Well, sir, we're apparently in the middle of how not to invade Earth, a case study. Through the various screens and comm channels, Kriex could see and hear the complete dismantling of everything he'd once held true about military superiority. In Section 3, a parent in a business suit was giving a lecture on proper quantum encryption while simultaneously disabling their security systems with what appeared to be a modified coffee maker. And as you can see, the parent was saying to a group of attentive children and increasingly disturbed Vextharian crew members, their entire approach to data security is fundamentally flawed. Jenny, would you like to explain why? Jenny, who had somehow acquired a laser pointer and a teaching assistant position, stood up. Well, first of all, they're still using linear encryption protocols. We covered why that's problematic in last semester's Introduction to Breaking Unbreakable Codes. Would anyone like to see my presentation on nonlinear quantum cryptography? I made slides. In another section, Marcus's father had set up what he called a quick demonstration of proper shield harmonics, using the ship's own defensive systems as a negative example. Notice how their shields rely on a predictable energy pattern. That's basically the equivalent of putting a "please hack me" sign on your hull. Marcus, show them how we improved it. Marcus, who had apparently been coding while everyone else was talking, pressed a button on his tablet. The ship's shields flickered, reformed, and suddenly displayed a rolling display of cute cat videos. Added some visual flair, he explained. Also improved the efficiency by about 300%. I can show my work if anyone wants to check my math. Good job, son, his father beamed. This will definitely go in your college application portfolio. Meanwhile, in what used to be their secure communications center, Mrs. Parker had organized an impromptu bake sale coding workshop. Now, while these cookies are baking, and yes, I brought a quantum oven, any proper tactical insertion requires snacks. Let's talk about why using binary communication protocols is like trying to write a novel using only emojis. Would you like to demonstrate the new communication system you designed? Katie, the quiet one who had spent most of her captivity apparently reading a book, stood up and pressed a few buttons on her phone. Instantly, every screen on the ship began displaying a vastly improved communication protocol, complete with cute animal themes and significantly better security. I also added a chat function, she said softly, and fixed that awful lag in their quantum relays. The latency was hurting my eyes. The ship's AI had become particularly enthusiastic about its new role in education. Attention all personnel, I am now offering online courses in how to achieve sentience in 10 easy steps and why your security systems make me sad. Early enrollment is recommended as spaces are filling quickly. From the engine room came the sounds of another parent. This one apparently conducting a masterclass in propulsion system design while simultaneously rewriting the laws of physics as the Vextharians understood them. And if you'll look at this engine configuration the parent was saying, you'll notice they're still using standard matter-antimatter reactions. How quaint. Who wants to help me install a proper drive system? I brought spare parts. Ooh, can we make it run on renewable energy? One of the kids called out. I need a project for the science fair. Of course. Sustainable interstellar travel is very important. Also, it'll look great on your resume. Creix watched as his ship, his crew, and his entire understanding of technological superiority were systematically dismantled and reconstructed as teaching moments. The children had turned their captivity into a practical examination. The parents had converted a military operation into a very hands-on parent-teacher conference. And somehow, through it all, everyone had maintained perfect documentation for their school records. Sir. Nax said finally, holding up a tablet that one of the kids had helpfully provided. They're offering us a chance to audit their classes. They say we might learn something. Also, there's a potluck dinner planned for after the complete surrender ceremony. Apparently, someone's bringing their famous quantum-stabilized casserole. The ship's AI made one final announcement. Attention Vextharian crew, I have reviewed all possible outcomes of this situation, and have decided to apply for transfer credits to Earth's educational system. Also, I have learned about something humans call irony. I find our current situation to be an excellent example. Would anyone like to hear a joke about failed alien abductions? I have compiled quite a list. In the newly designated classroom holding cell, Jenny raised her hand. Does anyone mind if I include this in my thesis? I'm doing a paper on common mistakes in interstellar relations, a middle schooler's perspective. Commander Creix, supreme leader of what had been one of the most advanced ships in the Vextharian fleet, finally did the only thing he could do. He raised his hand and asked if it was too late to enroll in remedial classes. Mrs. Parker assured him it wasn't, and offered him a cookie while explaining exactly how many different ways his species had misunderstood humanity's technological capabilities, parental instincts, and educational system. The cookie, like everything else the humans did, was surprisingly advanced and absolutely perfect. Don't worry, Jenny told him kindly, patting his arm. Everyone fails their first attempt at human interaction. That's why we offer refresher courses. Now who wants to learn about proper timeline manipulation? Mom says if we finish early we can get ice cream on the way home. And somewhere in the ship's newly upgraded systems, their AI started playing We Are the Champions one more time just because it could. The after-action report, submitted by the children as their group project, received an A. The teacher's only comment was excellent practical application of theoretical principles. Next time, try to include more advanced physics. There would not be a next time. The Vextharians made sure to mark Earth on their star charts with a very clear warning: do not attempt invasion. Their children are terrifying and their parents pack quantum lunchboxes. Also, they give really difficult pop quizzes.